Former President Trump turning himself in today
The people see it's a fraud. The people see it.
for alleged election interference. Trump was a hot topic at the Republican debate.
Donald Trump added $8 trillion to our debt, and our kids are never going to forgive us for this.
Even though he wasn't there. And curiosity about a man wandering a southwest Florida neighborhood
He could have seriously injured or hurt someone at that point.
quickly turns to panic. These stories and more coming up on Newsbreak.
Hello, South Florida. I'm Parsa K. Sajadi.
I'm Lian Abu-Tarbush. Today is Thursday, August 24th, 2023.
All eyes on a former president as he is set to surrender at a Georgia jail. It's the fourth time the former president has faced an indictment.
As CNN's Karen Kaifa reports, Trump will be processed and photographed before being released.
They were among the staunchest advocates for former President Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the 2020 presidential election. And on Wednesday, former Trump lawyers Sidney Powell, Jenna Ellis, and Rudy Giuliani were among those who surrendered at the Fulton County Jail on charges related to the Georgia election subversion case.
This is an attack on the American people. If this can happen to me, it can happen to you.
Today, the former president will turn himself in. Trump's attorneys have already negotiated a $200,000 bond and other terms of his release, including an explicit order to not use social media to target any co-defendants or witnesses or to communicate with them. In an interview with Tucker Carlson that aired on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, Wednesday night, Trump railed against the Georgia charges.
The people see it's a fraud. The people see it. Like this horrible district attorney. She said basically, I don't have any right to challenge an election.
The interview, designed to counter-program the first Republican presidential debate of the 2024 campaign cycle, which Trump opted to skip. Some of his rivals saying the former president's 4 state and federal indictments are a distraction and disqualifying.
Now, whether or not you believe that the criminal charges are right or wrong, the conduct is beneath the office of President of the United States.
And former President Trump is not expected to arrive here until much later today into the evening. Law enforcement officials worked with Trump's team to try to find timing that would be least disruptive to the city of Atlanta with the former president's movements. Trump now faces 91 charges across 4 separate criminal cases. In Atlanta, I'm Karen Kaifa.
Despite his absence, President Trump was looming large over the first presidential debate. The elephant is the logo of the Republican Party, and as CNN's Gloria Pazmino reports, the elephant in the room was the fact that the race's front runner decided not to attend.
The race for the White House takes flight.
8 candidates vying for the 2024 Republican presidential nomination taking the stage for the first time.
They are here to lay out their vision for America.
The event was hosted by Fox News in Milwaukee. Heading into Wednesday's debate, the latest poll shows former President Donald Trump with a commanding lead. But on stage, Trump was a no-show. Instead, he sat down for a 45-minute interview with former Fox News host Tucker Carlson, which was released on X, formerly known as Twitter.
I'm going to have all these people screaming at me, shouting questions at me, all of which I love answering, I love doing, but it doesn't make sense to do them. So I've taken a pass.
Despite Trump's absence, candidates made the case for why they should be the Republican nominee. Others took swipes at the former president.
Donald Trump added $8 trillion to our debt, and our kids are never going to forgive us for this.
Those with the most experience highlighted their records.
We cut taxes in New Jersey. We cut debt in New Jersey.
I led Indiana where we balanced budgets and had a AAA bond rating.
We sold the biggest election landslide victory in the history of the Republican Party in the state of Florida in 2022. That's what I did.
While political newcomers tried to break away from the pack.
I'm the only person on the stage who isn't bought and paid for.
The candidates will face off in another debate again next month in California. When asked whether they would support Trump if he should become the Republican nominee or be convicted in a court of law, a majority of the candidates raised their hand. Reporting in Milwaukee, Gloria Pazmino, back to you.
Inter Miami's winning streak continues as they advance to the U.S. Open Cup Finals, just days after winning the League's Cup Final. Video of celebration posted on social media by the club after the game. It was a mix of highs and lows, but Inter Miami now has a soft in the finals after winning penalty kicks against Cincinnati. No goals for Lionel Messi, but he did get 2 assists. Houston comes here for the final. On September 27th, it's back to the MLS season for Inter Miami, who plays against the New York Red Bulls on Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
Dramatic video on Southwest Florida showing a suspect driving the wrong way. And as reporter Taylor Wirtz tells us, it ended up in a home's backyard.
What started out as a normal Friday evening for Meredith Mearman and her family took a turn when she noticed a stranger in her yard.
He was running around. At first I thought he was just chasing a dog or something, and then I saw him again, and then I heard helicopters. I was like, well, that's weird. And I looked out here and the whole street was covered in cop cars.
The cars she saw were Charlotte County Sheriff's deputies, and the man in her backyard, Canel Barthelus, was on the run. Captain John Heck says CCSO's narcotics and STAR teams had attempted a traffic stop near Westchester Boulevard and Kings Highway, during which Barthelus took off.
Obviously, due to the fact that he had a large amount of narcotics with him, he tried to flee from us.
Aviation cameras show him heading down the wrong side of Kings Highway and driving through oncoming traffic. Heck says he seemed to throw drugs out the window as he drove.
When you're driving the wrong way with vehicles that weigh a few thousand pounds and going speeds of 40 plus miles an hour, vehicles hit head on, he could have seriously injured or hurt someone at that point.
When his car seemed to get stuck, Heck says Barthelus ran to a nearby neighborhood and into Mearman's backyard, where upon realizing he wasn't chasing a dog, she called 911.
It was a lot of commotion in the sense of you saw someone running, you hear helicopters, and you see all these police cars and things, and it was just overwhelming.
Due to combined efforts in the sky and on the ground, deputies and detectives were able to find Barthelus soon after her call and arrest him next door. In his possession, CCSO told us, enough drugs to kill 70,000 people.
That was Meredith Wirtz reporting. The suspect is being held without bond. He's charged with trafficking methamphetamine and fentanyl and manufacturing other drugs. That's on top of fleeing to elude and tampering with evidence.
A construction worker was killed in a Florida Space Coast in an unfortunate crane accident. It was yesterday. Palm Bay authorities say the crane made contact with power lines, causing the cab where the crane operator is housed to burst into flames. The accident knocked out power to the local area. One man has been confirmed dead. Officials have not yet confirmed whether or not he was the crane operator.
Florida introduces a novel punishment for college staff breaking bathroom rules. Florida public colleges have unveiled a unique punishment targeting staff members who violate bathroom rules on campus. This unconventional approach to enforcing regulations has stirred a wave of debate and speculation about its implications.
11 states are dealing with an increase in salmonella cases that have been linked to small turtles. Safety instructions from the U.S. Centers for Disease Control are being implemented for people who have this type of reptile as pets. Some of these instructions are do not kiss or snuggle with turtles, and do not buy turtles for kids under 5 or adults over 65. Some of the symptoms are fever, diarrhea, and abdominal cramps.
The Marlins wrapping up their series with the San Diego Padres.
That's still ahead, and so is the story.
My heart breaks. I know it's a bear, but it's not just a bear. And I feel for the cubs.
A Florida community is devastated after hearing the loss of a beloved animal. Newsbreak will be back in 2 minutes.
Just remember. See us protest.
You matter. Your feelings matter. Your identity matters. Everything about who you are matters.
See us fight back. See us rebuild. See us shatter stereotypes. See us inspire. See us united. See us now.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
A feeling of anger and outrage coming from a Florida neighbors over an admired animal. People living in a Sanford neighborhood are upset after a mama bear was shot and then had to be euthanized.
As reporter Christina Watkins tells us, they're now calling for an FWC investigation.
My heart breaks. I know it's a bear, but it's not just a bear. And I feel for the cubs.
Cindy Freeman says she and her neighbors loved seeing this mama bear and her 2 cubs roaming the tall trees area in Sanford.
When we know mama is out and about with the babies, we will text each other, they're here, give a location, and recommend if your garage door's up, put it down, they're out looking around.
She tells me she was livid when she found out someone shot the mama bear, and she wasn't the only one devastated by the loss.
Why is someone shooting 16 shots in a neighborhood where there's children headed for the school bus stops?
Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission confirmed this happened Friday morning. The bear was hurt so badly in the shooting, FWC says she had to be put down.
It was just a heartbreak because, I mean, I've spent months looking at them and just in awe of them, and to know that she was injured and had to be euthanized.
FWC reminds people black bears are protected in the state and it's illegal to shoot one. The crime is a misdemeanor and it could lead to fines up to $1,000 and possibly up to a year in jail.
There's a lot of anger. There's a lot of justifiably over-the-top anger.
That was Christina Watkins reporting. In a statement yesterday, the FWC says the cubs are old enough to survive on their own and have been observed on game cameras on their own. However, the FWC says bear biologists are actively searching for the cubs.
The Miami Marlins head home after a final loss to the San Diego Padres. The game was never good for the Fish, but it did get interesting in the 8th inning after the Padres. Robert Suarez was ejected for suspicion of having a stick substance on his left wrist and arm, possibly used to cheat. The final score was Marlins 0, Padres 4. The Marlins come back home to play the Washington Nationals tomorrow at 6:40. You're watching Newsbreak, and we're coming right back.
I don't know why you're so sad. You've got a roof over your head.
You gotta stop with that depressing stuff. That's what white people think. You all right?
It just feels like it's coming from everywhere.
Do you want to talk about it?
You can talk to me if you're feeling sad.
Whenever you need to talk, I'm here, okay?
If you're buzzed and doing this, to make yourself feel okay to drive,
ZWX.
You're not okay to drive.
YGKLVW. Regular you.
That's all the time we have for Newsbreak. I'm Parsa K. Sajadi.
I'm Leanne Abu Tarbush. Get more news anytime at caplinnews.fiu.edu.